All right, welcome back to Tonight, and it's time for Data Point. We want to focus on what has been the promise about the prices of unga, and of course we are told by the Minister of Agriculture that in the coming days it should be changing. Let's take a look at what we know so far. This is according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics in terms of the prices of maize, that is dry maize. Now, a kilo, according to the KNBS, is retailing at 81 shillings 61 cents. This is the national average price. If you had to compare that with May 2022, it was 62 shillings 45 cents. So you can see the increment of nearly 20 shillings between the month of May 2022 and May 2023. If you had to convert that to 90 kg bag, then you get at last year in May, it was 7,098 shillings. That is the national average. But now it is up to 7,344 for 90 kg bag. So that's the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. What are the markets saying as of today? These are figures that we got from across different parts of the country. In Kisii County, a 90 kg bag is retailing at 8,000 or is selling at 8,500 shillings. In Nairobi, you can get it as up to 6,400 shillings. Depending on where you buy it, you can get it at a better price. In Nakuru County, the market price is 6,000 shillings. In Machakos County, it's 5,800 shillings, which is slightly lower than what it was last week. In Thika, it is 5,500 shillings, but you can get lower depending on who is selling and where it is. In Nyeri County, we are told it's selling at 4,200 shillings, and you can get at different rates depending again on who is selling to you. Now, the maize market at the moment per kilo, there's a range of 60 shillings to 90 shillings, and this is the retail market where you can buy as a kilo, or if you call it the goro, you can get to a price that is close to that. Then the average retail prices of the 2 kilogram packet of unga currently is between 180 shillings and 230 shillings, again depending on the brand and where it is. If you're in the major supermarkets, then you'll be in the upwards of 200 shillings. If you are in other supermarkets across the country, you can go as low as 180 shillings for every 2 kg bag. In September, the price was 200 shillings or more. That's at the time that President William Ruto came to office. This is how the politics of maize have been over the past few elections. In 2013, during the campaigns, the market price was between 100 shillings and 115 shillings for a 2 kg bag or packet. The TNA URP, this is the coalition that won the election in 2013, had promised that they would reduce the price of a packet of unga, 2 kg pack, to 60 shillings. Did they succeed? No. The actual price after the election was 107 shillings up to 115 shillings. Come the election of 2017, this was the situation in the market. The packet of unga was 160 shillings. It was high. It was a crisis. And therefore, the government decided that it was going to open a window of opportunity for millers to import duty-free maize, and that caused the price of unga to drop to 90 shillings into the election. But of course, after the election, something happened and it started to rise again. In June 2022, this was the period that unga at that time reached the highest price. It was between 200 shillings and 230 shillings, but the government was able to reduce it to 100 shillings. What did they do? There was a government maize subsidy, very controversial. It was put at 8 billion shillings. It was only applicable for a month. And shortly after the general election on the 9th of August, specifically around 12th of August, there was a statement saying that the subsidy had expired, and therefore the price of unga went back to 200 shillings. Come to the office, and we saw President William Ruto coming up with measures including duty-free imports, opening the duty-free imports window between the month of March and August 2023, and the target was to get 1.4 million metric tons of maize from outside the country. That's equivalent to 15.5 bags of 90 kgs. So how successful has this plan been? According to the latest reports that we have from the Ministry of Agriculture, is that they have managed to import 500,000 metric tons. This is way almost a third of the target of 1.4 metric tons. And the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture says that the import price at the moment for a 90 kg bag is 5,000 shillings. You see, again, it varies. It is slightly different from what we are witnessing in the market. Remember, Kisii is reporting 8,500. Nyeri is reporting 4,200. Therefore, the government is saying that it might consider extending the window. Remember, this window is supposed to expire on the 6th of August, which is in a few days' time. Therefore, some something else that is important to note, even as the millers await the arrival of either new maize or new imports or the maturation of the current crop that is in the farms. They have to consider the cost of maize in determining the price. If the cost is low, which is the raw material, then the price may go down. They have to look at the size of the pending stock, the stock they have at the moment, how much was it when it came to their stores, and therefore it will determine the output price. The cost of energy, this is the cost of production, but also the electricity is also a factor to consider. If the cost of energy is going up, like it is at the moment, electricity, there's a possibility it might go up, but also it went up in April, then there's an impact to the cost of production. Then, of course, there's the cost of fortification. There are vitamins that are supposed to be added to unga. There's the cost of packaging and labor. This has to be factored in determining that price, and, of course, the transport cost to reach the market. And again, the milling process, if you get a 90 kg bag of maize, according to millers, they're telling us that out of this, you're able to get up to 72 kgs of flour, because obviously there are some byproducts which are converted into maize bran and maize jam for the animals. Then what else do you have to consider? The millers have to consider the age of produce, meaning as soon as the farmers start to harvest in the coming weeks, then the millers will have to consider how old is that maize in terms of what is the content, the moisture content of that maize, because if it is too high and fit for milling, then it has to be dried either naturally or mechanically, which again adds to the cost of preparing that maize for that. Then the politics of unga take us back to April 2023, which is this year. There was a claim by the government that unga had reduced, the unga prices had reduced to 159 shillings. Indeed, there are some brands that were seen in supermarkets and different markets retailing at that price. But at the moment, the same brands that we saw are retailing at more than 200 shillings. Some shops, 204 shillings, others 209 shillings. And of course, this is a matter to wait for, because as we wait for the harvest, then what is it going to do to the cost of unga? Here is the Principal Secretary at the Crop Development Department of the Ministry of Agriculture.
And by Friday, we will expect a further decrease in the price of unga and also the price of maize. In the next 1 month, we will start milling our own maize. We are expecting a bumper harvest of about 44 million bags of maize in Kenya. That is sufficient to feed our country, sufficient to reduce any kind of imports, just like we had before.
All right, that is PS Kelo Harsame at the Crop Development Department of the Ministry of Agriculture, talking about what is expected. 44 million bags of production, which is close to the demand for the country. But then again, as to the impact of that to the cost of unga is a matter that we have to wait and see, together with the considerations that the millers have to put in place. And that is Data Point tonight.